Hey everybody, it is Miss Calkins and we are starting a couple of new things this week. We're going to be talking about how to find the volume of some 3D objects. So the object that we're going to be focusing on today is a cylinder. A cylinder, the best example of a cylinder is your standard can, okay? A cylinder is defined by a couple of characteristics. It is a solid figure, so that just means it's a 3D figure. It has two parallel congruent circles as the bases. So here's what that means. If I put my hands on the ends of this can, my hands are parallel, okay? And both of the ends of this can are two circles that are congruent to each other. So that's why this makes a pretty good example of what a cylinder is supposed to be. So what I've drawn up here is an example up here on the board of what a cylinder is. When you have a cylinder, your two circles, or the top and the bottom of your can, are considered the two bases, and then the height would be the distance between those two bases. So you have a basic formula for volume. So this stands for volume equals, that capital B stands for base area, and then the H is height. So you can break that down even farther and write it out as volume equals the base area, the area of the base times the height. Now, the base of a cylinder is a circle. So how do you find the area of a circle? The area of a circle is defined as pi r squared. So our formula to find our volume of a cylinder is going to be pi r squared times h, where pi is just pi, r stands for the radius, so you square that and then you multiply it times the height. All you really need to be able to do for this section is know what the formula is and drop the numbers into the formula where they go, and then use your calculator to multiply it out. So we're going to do a couple of examples, some things like you're going to see on your assignment. Number one, we have our cylinder. This is the height, which is 10 centimeters. This is the base, and this is the radius of the base. I know that's the radius because it comes halfway across into my circle. Now, I know if you're looking at this, you're like, well, that's not actually a circle, Miss Calkins, it's an oval. I understand that. When you draw it like a 3D shape, you kind of have to make it an oval shape. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my formula. The volume is pi r squared h. I'm going to drop the numbers into the formula where they belong. If you have a calculator that has the pi button, you can use that. If you don't, which most of you probably don't, but anyway, you can use 3.14 for pi. That's fine. And then my radius is 5, so I'm going to do 5 squared. That's a common mistake, as a lot of people forget to square the radius, and then I'm going to multiply that by the height, which is 10. So when you plug this into your calculator, you can do 3.14 times 5 squared, or we know that 5 squared is 25, so you could do times 25 times 10. You are going to round all of these to the 10th place, so this is going to be 785.4. Now, your units, anytime you're calculating volume, is going to be cubed, because I did 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters times 10 centimeters, so that is centimeters to the third power. On your assignment for today, you're not going to have to put this part on there. I try to make it as simple as possible, so you would just put this. If you are working this out and you use the pi button, your answer could be a little bit different than mine. It's just going to round it a couple of decimal places differently, but that's okay. It's still the same value. So for number 2, I have same formula. Volume is pi r squared h. Now, here's another common mistake. Some people start rolling with these problems and start just plugging numbers in, and they're going to make a mistake of putting 12 into the formula. That is not the radius. This is a diameter. It goes all the way across the circle. So since the diameter is 12, that means the radius for this cylinder is 6. You have to put 6 into the formula, not 12. So I'm going to do pi times 6 squared times height. And again, if you put 12 in there, that's going to completely mess up the volume, because 12 is the diameter, not the radius. You have to make sure you have the radius. And how you get the radius from the diameter is just divide that in 2. So it's going to be half of that. So when you multiply that all out, again, you can punch it in just like this. You can put 3.14, you can put 36 in for height, it doesn't matter. The final volume for this is 2,035.8, and again, that would be centimeters cubed or centimeters to the third power. Okay, example number 3, you might have some questions where they don't give you a figure, they actually just give you a value for r, the radius, and give you a value for h, which is the height. So you're still going to plug this into the formula just like we did. That's going to be pi times 1.5 squared, don't forget to square that, times 20. Plug that into your calculator. You can use 3.14 for pi if you'd rather do that. And the answer to number 3 would be 141.4 inches to the third power. And again, if you're working these out on your calculator and you're using 3.14, because a lot of these I worked out actually using the pi button, but if this is just a couple of decimal places off, it's still correct. It's okay, it's just rounded a little bit differently. I do want to draw your attention to number 4, because number 4 is going to be, I think, like number 1 on your assignment today. If you notice, I don't have a radius, I don't have a diameter, I have a capital B. This actually works out to be a little bit easier because this capital B is pi r squared. So that's already taken care of. So remember, if we kind of go backwards with this, this is capital B. That is the base area formula. So that goes back to what I showed you initially. So if they already gave you the base area, which we have, this is already pi r squared. That's what this part is right here. So all you have to do in this example is multiply your base area times your height. So for this one, I would just do 40.4 times 11, and that is going to give me a volume of 444.4, and that is still centimeters to the third power. So basically, this is just knowing what the formula is, knowing where to put your numbers into the formula, making sure you have the radius and not the diameter. And if you do have a problem where they give you the base area, you just multiply that times the height. Please come to a Zoom session if you want to see some more examples of this, or if you need some help working out one of your problems on your assignment. I miss you. Come to Zoom so I can see your faces and hear your voices, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.